May 15th, 2019, I woke up and saw my life. And I knew I was going to either end up offing myself because how much I disliked myself, because of how bad I let myself go, how bad I let my weight go. The hole that I dug myself in, I felt like I couldn't get out of. And I know if I kept myself in that hole and kept myself surrounded by those thoughts, that I wasn't going to last long. That's the day I just woke up out of that. I really just had to take a step back and look at my surroundings and look at myself and look forward in the future and say, if I continue to live how I'm living right now, any further down the road, I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it because I felt ashamed of who I let myself become in that moment, or in those moments leading up to that moment. You know, I'm looking around, I'm like, I know I have potential. And growing up as kids, you know, we all know that we watch movies and TV shows and we think of ourselves as like the main character. I'm special. I'm meant to be somebody. As you get older, a lot of people just let themselves go. A lot of people just forget about that. They just conform to their environment. And, you know, look around. Look around. What is your environment? Why are you overweight? Why are you broke? Why are you living paycheck to paycheck? A lot of people just conform. But in that moment, I woke up and was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I legit ran to the gym, put clothes on, ran to the gym, signed up for the gym, started working out that day. I didn't have any money to my name. I had enough just to get my membership. I had to sell my vehicle because the business I was operating went under. Like, I sold everything, my PlayStation, my vehicle, just so I could float the bills to run and operate this company where I was making screen printed t-shirts. And it just didn't work out. And that's another lesson of things, all, you know, not everything's gonna work out. You know, not everything's gonna be what it is meant to be. You're gonna still find struggles. You're still gonna go through hard times. I'm very lucky that I was in a position where growing up, I had to hustle. I had to get my own money. At times where I wasn't old enough to get a job, I was flipping Nintendo DS's, PS2 games. Because I needed money, right? I wanted money, I wanted things. I loved entrepreneurship, and I was operating this t-shirt business. And, you know, unfortunately, my sales guy took our business behind us. We were young, he was much older, more experienced, took the business with him, really screwed us over, you know, like just real evil intentions, really. And I didn't have any money. I sold everything I had to float this company. So when I went to go join the gym, it's like I didn't have nothing, man. I had to get another part-time job just to like float bills at home. You know, I didn't want my roommate at the time to be like, hey man, rent's due. You know, I didn't want to go through that. So by any means, I had to make sure that all my bills were paid for before anything else. You know, at least I had that common courtesy to make sure that my bills were taken care of. At least I had a roof over my head, right? And I'm talking bare minimum, because I didn't want to do nothing. I didn't want anybody to see me. I was in such a bad place because I had let myself go. And prior to this, I knew I had potential. I played football, I wrestled, I was really big on entrepreneurship. I was reselling full time at one point. You know, I was just doing all kinds of good stuff, making music. And I just got to this point where I just let myself go. I woke up, I looked at myself, I was hella overweight. My hygiene was disgusting. I had hair down to my butt. Like, I had really let myself go. I became an alcoholic. Like, it was just not good. And so for some people, it takes a heartbreak to have a mind shift. But at this point in time, I want to call it a divine intervention, because at this point in time, I didn't have my heartbreak just yet. I didn't have my heartbreak. It was just God talking to me. He just like peeled my eyes open and said, just take a look. Who do you want to be? What kind of son do you want to be? What kind of brother do you want to be? And like I said, before this, I knew I had potential. But just dealing with life so young and just having a full plate and just, being an entrepreneur and like not choosing your health over this and just really grinding it out and just having a bad taste of people like betraying you and an endless list, it had just caught up. And I know more people go through a lot more, tragedies, deaths, loss, financial, physically, all kinds. There's just so much, right? There's so much I could add on to what I was going through. And, bad relationships with people, etc. I mean, the list goes on forever at this point in time. And I'm so thankful. For whatever reason, my eyes were just peeled open. I call it a divine intervention. God came into my life and opened my eyes and said, hey, we got work to do. And I'll always remember, bro, like, God will never give you more than what you can handle. Because I've came out just fine. I've came out so much stronger, so much more patient. Sometimes life's, and I want to rip my hair out. But just going through so much and just learning how to be patient and just like assess the situation, you learn a lot about yourself. If you do not fold, if you just don't fold, like, you might be in a stressful situation where you got people like pressuring you to answer a certain question, and you're in a situation and it's just, you're sweating. If you don't fold under that, bro, that shows that teaches you so much about yourself and what you're capable of and what you could go through. And the issue is with a lot of people is like they've never been through that. So when they go through that, they just fold. But what happens when you stand your ground? I'm telling you, when I learned that you have to create your opportunities instead of waiting for opportunities, my whole life changed. My whole outlook changed. When I was going through this process of losing my weight, is because I wanted help. I wanted to change my life. I didn't want to be overweight anymore. I didn't want to feel the way I felt, so depressed, so sad. And on that journey, I learned so much. I did so much research. I went online. I joined YouTube University, and I researched everything on self-improvement. I didn't even know what self-improvement was. And I found I just opened a can of worms at that point. And I'm telling you, when you go through this process, take everything you see and hear with a grain of salt, because you're going to hear some off-the-wall stuff. But I will stand by that some of the stuff that's very, very extreme, it fits for certain people. When all the stuff that you learn online, some people can take it to the extreme and it can be negative, okay? We all know that. However, some people need that extreme to get out of wherever they're at. I promise you, it's got to be extreme at some points, especially when you're in a dark place. Whatever it takes to get out. I'm telling you, whatever it takes to get out. But once you get out, you don't have to be extreme anymore, because you're not in that dark place. You're not in that hard spot, so you don't have to be extreme. So now you continue to learn. You have to have an open mind. And everything you've been conditioned growing up, you got to unlearn that. You cannot hold on to those principles that you grew up with. If you're in a situation where you feel stuck and you have no purpose, people like to say you gotta rewire your brain. You gotta unlearn what you know. Forget about what you know, because those are the past principles that have kept you and got you to this point. Okay? And those principles have gotten you so far, but you're at this point now where you got to step it up. I'm telling you, take that leap, take those risks, take them all. I'm telling you, May 15th, 2019, I chose to change my life around, and I have crazy stories. What was that? Over 6 years ago? Absolutely insane stories. I've been to places and met people I never thought I would ever meet or be, or in situations I'd never be in, opportunities I'd never have, it's crazy. I literally got into the best shape of my life. I had 6-pack abs for the first time in my life. I was fat all of my life. I made the most money I've ever made in my life. The possibilities are endless. I'm telling you, I'm still in my hometown. I have a secure job at the moment, and I'm very grateful for it. But I'm telling you, if you get momentum, just keep going. Keep going. And I will leave this on a note. And if you made it this far, please take this very serious. A lot of people like to call life at this point the Matrix. And it will do everything to throw you a curveball to prevent you from excelling and furthering your success. And most people fold. I folded. But this is where most people stop. And they give up, they quit. When this happens, when life throws you that curveball, God forbid something crazy happens and it messes with you mentally, and you're like, I've been doing all this work. Where's my karma? Why did this happen to me? I've been doing everything right. I've been working hard. Why did this happen? Why did it happen to me? You're being tested. You're being tested. And it is okay if you fold. It is beautiful if you make it through. Right? But what happens is most people stop right there. And I encourage you, if you do stop, just restart. No matter how bad it gets, no matter how far away you get from yourself and where you were, bro, I'm telling you, pick yourself up and just restart. That is it. Anybody can do it. I did it. You're gonna do it.